Um, okay, so we have today. We start with the longest parak in Bava Basra, right? The most lumdish parak, yeshivish parak, whatever you want to call it. Right? It goes until this parak starts here at Daf Chav Ches and ends on Samach. What is that? 32 block?
Yeah, 31 block. I think Yeshinarchlin's also about 30 block.
Is it? Is all these? Yeah.
Close, yeah. So the Yeshinarchlin's
I think is it the longest parak in Shas? I don't know. I don't know. Then tomorrow's daf, we start with the Rashbam. Rashi's nifter on tomorrow's daf. I mean, not on it.
I think, isn't the first parak in Kedushin the longest one?
Oh, yeah, the first parak in Kedushin, right, Taka, is 40 blocks. Yeah,
I think like about 40.
First parak is 40 blocks, yeah.
And there we thought he was a Chumash yet.
That's right. Oh. Very good.
You can't say the Rashi stopped over here. We have the same thing in Marcus. Yeah, you have the same thing in Marcus. Rashi stops, and then somebody can't say he was nifter then. He just stopped.
Oh, yeah, but we'll see. Masaras Shas says that he was nifter. Okay, we'll discuss it tomorrow because it's tomorrow's daf.
The Rashbam gives you a very short amudim because he's mareh like way more than Rashi.
Yes, it's a yes.
It's like an art school Rashbam.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So so Zok the Mishnah, yeah? Yeah, we finished the parak yesterday. So Cheskas Abatim, right? So the Chazaka of Batim, meaning we as we've been learning, there's something called the Chazaka, which is basically if somebody lives in a land, right? If somebody lives in a land for 3 years, or 3 of something, whatever, meaning we'll see it's going to be dependent on the opinion, different opinions, etc., etc. But essentially, chazaka is that if somebody proves himself, right? Somebody proves that he's been in something for 3 years, then that he does not have to provide a deed or anything like that to show that he owns it. However, we're going to see he can't just squatter's rights we don't have. Meaning a guy can't just move into somebody's house for 3 years and then it becomes his. That doesn't work. He has to, meaning all it is that living there 3 years means that he doesn't have to prove that it's his land. Meaning he has to say though, oh, I bought it from you, or I inherited it from you, or that type of thing. You can't just say, right? You can't just say that it's that it's his. Okay, so let's see. So Cheskas Abat. Yeah, so the chazak of houses, boiros, shichin, and v'amaris, those are the 3 that go together. Right? Those are, meaning you could have a pit and somebody, different size pits. Yeah. And the shayvach, which is the dove coat, whatever the bird cages. V'amar chatzos and a merchatz, beis habadin is an olive press. Beis hashlachin is fields that are irrigated. Avadim, and if you have a slave, v'kolshu oisa peres tadir, or anything that constantly gives off fruit. Chaskasan shalashana miyom liyom. The chazaka is for 3 years from day to day. Meaning, what it sounds like is that in order to have a chazaka on it, a guy has to be there for an entire 3 years.
You have to prove every day.
What?
You have to prove that you were there every day.
Oh, so we're going to see that in tomorrow's stuff.
I'm saying, is it like New York where they require that you prove that you weren't there for 6 months of the year?
3 years and no vacations?
Yep. Yeah, we'll have to see we're gonna have to see as the parak progresses. But
The
tomorrow,
Gemara will talk about it. The Gemara will
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about different scenarios.
yeah. So, but the bottom line is that needs what we're saying is it needs 3 years, right? And it has to be from day to day, meaning a full 3 years. Yeah. Sada habal. If you have a sada habal, so that's a sada that's naturally irrigated, right? And irrigated based on shlachin is a field that's manually irrigated. Sada habal is naturally. So then chazkas and shalosh shanim ve'ena miyom liyom. Then that chazak is for 3 years, but it's not miyom liyom, right? Now, the way Rashi understands this Gemara is that the Gemara is saying a statement that Sada Habal is not Miyom Liyom, and now Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva have a machlokes of what that means, right? But there's going to be other pshatim that say that this is the Shita Tanakama, and there's really 3 opinions here, not 2, right? So, anyways. So again, we're going to go Rashi's shot. So what does this mean that Sada Abbas Chazak for 3 years, not Miyom Liyom? That means you could have 3 months in the first year, Gimel Ba'achroina, 3 months in the last year, meaning you have the last 3 months of year number 1, the first 3 months of year number 3, and Shnei Masachaydish Be'emtza on the 12 months in the middle. Hare Yud Ches Chaydish, and all you'll need to have is 18 months. Meaning in the whole list in the beginning of the Mishnah, it needs a full 3 years. But here it needs here it needs 3 months and 12 months. Right? Meaning, but the reason is because fields, meaning it's all tully in how things normally grow there. Right? So depending on how things normally grow there, you could, if basically what he could do is he could push the whole not crop, what do you call it? Harvest, I guess. The whole harvest or the whole avodah planting things to the last 3 months. And he could push the whole harvest into the first 3 months. So Mamela, that would show that he's been busy with the field for essentially a full 3 years, even though he was not. Kiva, he's more mekel. Chodesh b'rishayna, v'chodesh b'achron. Need 1 month in the beginning, 1 month in the end. Yud beis chodesh b'emtza, 12 months in the middle. Hare yud dal chodesh. Then all you need is 14 months. Yeah, we're going to see in another 8 blot or so exactly what this machlokes is. Fine. Amar Rabbi Shmuel, but this is all talking about a sadeh lavan. Literally means a white field, which is a grain, wheat. Yeah. So there they take the grain from the entire field. But in a field that's made out of trees, meaning it grows fruit, if he does the grape trying is a word I'm trying to remember. The grape, when you gather everything, the grape harvest, right? Kana says tuasa, if he does tua, Rashi here says tua, if it doesn't make it, if it's not confusing or not. Tua normally means grain. Rashi here says tua means yayin. Right, so kana meaning it means wine, mamish, wine of grapes. Kana says tuasa umasak es zeisav, and he picks his olives. Kanas es ketzoy, and he brings in and he dries out the dried figs, which is 3 totally different harvests. So then Arelu Gimel Shanim, that is the equivalent of 3 years. Meaning since there's 3 different harvests, so that's the equivalent of 3 years. Meaning the reason why
is that similar to the idea of creating chazaka? We had said that isn't there a shaila to create a chazaka, like when it comes to like saying Masha Baruch, that some people hold it has to be spread out over a certain time, but there are others that hold that it could even be sped up. Like if you just say it to yourself a certain amount of times, like 90 times, it's enough to create a chazaka that you're saying Masha Baruch.
What do you mean? If you said Mashruch and then you went
There's a
back?
machlekes if you could speed up the chazaka of Mashav Ruach.
Say it 90 times tonight, then say it
Correct.
90 times in one shot.
Right. There's a machlekes if that's considered a chazaka or not. So that's the same idea that he's basically speeding up a chazaka by doing 3 different things that normally would take 3 years in 1 year.
Nobody said it normally takes 3 years. Who told you it normally takes 3 years? Are you a farmer? How do you know how long this takes?
The Gemara, the Mishnah before said it takes 3 years, or whatever 3 years means. Cheskes abatim, or even cheskes abal, cheskes shalishan, the end takes 3 years. What qualifies as 3 years is a separate point, but it takes 3 years. Rabbi Shmuel is saying now, no, even though I said before it takes 3 years, a truncated 3 years, here it only takes 1 harvest with 3 different payers.
Yeah. So honestly, so what are you saying with the davening?
I'm asking, he's saying you could speed up a chazaka.
Correct.
So normally we had said when it comes to chazaka, according to some, you can't just speed up a chazaka.
You're
So
saying
you're
you
talking
get a
about where it's-
chazaka of Masha Baruch in 1 day. Not you don't have to
Right,
wait
there's a
till-
machlekes
Oh,
if you
yeah,
could get a
that's what you're-
chazaka of
you're
Masha
saying-
Baruch in 1 day.
You're talking about the
That's
shitas that say that you could just sit and say the whole.
Yeah,
the
that's what he's
sentence, and
saying.
that's
Yes,
it.
yes.
I thought you were saying something else. I thought you were saying that because if you say Mashruch, let's say after 3 weeks, and then by mistake you say Marad Atol, now does
No,
the
no,
whole
no, no.
thing kick back?
Sam, can you speed up a chazaka when it comes to something like this? Is that similar to this shiloh?
I don't know. That's good. That's a good question. I don't know. I would think that it should sounds like it. Right.
I don't know because Rashi says it's Ki'ilu Gimel Shanim, and if I recall the Gemara, I don't know if Rabbi Shmuel requires 3 years. I think the whole limit of 3 years Rabbi Shmuel might not hold of.
Rabbi Shmuel literally says 3 years before. He says the words 3 years. So I don't know what that means.
Where?
so we're gonna have to
In
see-
the
we're
last
gonna
line
have
of
to
the
see-
Mishnah?
Rabbi Shmuel is explaining Cheskes Dimasham Ve'inam Yem. He even if you want to call it a truncated 3 years, he calls it 3 years. Cheskes Dimasham. He explains 3 years to be.
Rashi. It's so pashut that he's not arguing. The Tanakama says Shalosh Shana of enemy.
Okay, fine. I'm saying so. Let's say Lefi Rashi.
Yeah. But I think it's a separate machlekes. By Mashav Ruach, the Paiskim say that because you're trying to do a chazaka in tefillah, it has to be a part of tefillah. So if you could say Ata Gibber L'Olam Hashem with the shame, followed by Mashav Ruach, that would work. The problem is that you can't say it with the shame.
I know, but the
Except
Paiskim tie it to other chazakas. They do. Some Paiskim do tie it to other chazakas.
Yeah, they all
Right.
do.
Yeah, but that's
I think ultimately everyone's masking that you could shorten the chazaka of Mashav Ruach to 30 days, whatever the 30 days is. So 30 days means 30 times 3, 90 tefillahs. So you say 90 times, you have a chazaka. The problem is that it's supposed to be part of tefillah. You're not stam saying the words Mashav Ruach Me'edagashem. So it has to be connected to the pasuk before it, which is Ata Gibber. The problem is that has a shame. The question is if you could do it without the shame or with the shame.
So,
The
on that note, maybe take this to a side project so we can all make it to minute.
what time is Mincha Taka?
7:55.
10 minutes.
No,
Oh,
not
what?
10 minutes.
7:40.
7:55 by me.
Well,
Okay.
Aaron Kaplan, I davened Meir already.
Yeah, Robert, you know what I mean?
How'd you
Yeah,
do that
how
on
you
your
do
on
that
so
today?
soon? How'd you do
What?
that on your on so soon?
Pretty good, huh?
You skip
There you
mincha, but you daven Mar.
That's why I only told it to Aaron Kaplan and told to anybody else.
All right, good for you. Anyways, okay, so that I don't know, Dakiva, it's good. I Taka want to look into that. Okay, so again, the Mishnah basically is repeating. Let's just chazer over the Mishnah. The chazaka for houses, bayras, etc., that is 3 years from day to day. A field that's sadeh habal, which is from the rain, then it's 3 years, but it does not have to be miyavli. It just has to be that you have basically 3 harvests, to which we have a machlokes what that means. Rabbi Shmuel says it's 3 months of the last 3 months of the first year, the middle 12 months, and then the first 3 months of the last year, and then you have Rabbi Kiva who says it's only 1 month, which I'm not sure what their machlokes is exactly to explain it now, but we'll see in the Gemara. And then Rabbi Shmuel says that's only by grain, where grain you gather everything at once, but by a sada ilan, where you could potentially have 3 different harvests, meaning let's say you have grapes and you have olives and figs. So then, those are 3 separate harvests. So that in itself could be made into a chazaka. Okay. So Zok the Gemara. Amram Yochanan. Shamatim Holchei Usha. I heard from the Holchei Usha. Right? That's when they were. It's only apropos for today on the fast day. By the Churban Bayesheni, so they had to bounce around. They were bounced. The Sanhedrin was bouncing around. They had 10 stops. Right, so from those that went to Usha, Shahayu Aimrim, Minan l'chazaka Gimel Shanim. How do you know the chazaka is 3 years? And really, the Bach changes it because it has nothing to do with years, l'chayra, like we were just discussing. It's really Gimel. How do you know the chazaka? How do we know that 3 is a chazaka? So Gemara answers Mishar Amud. So we get a little bit of chazara from Bava Kama. We know from Shar Amud, Ma Shar Amud, Kimin Shenogach Gimel Negicha. So we know that when you have a shor, when it first gores, it's a short time, it only pays half damages. Once it goes 3 times, then the 4th time, it's a muad. Right? So mashar muad, kiman shenoga gimel negichas. Once it goes 3 times, nafakle mecheskas tam. Bekomle mecheskas muad, it goes out from tam and it goes to muad. Hachanami, kiman the achla tlashnin. So to here, since it ate for 3 years, nafakle meshus meicher, it goes out from meshus meicher, bekaimel b'reshus lekeach. And now it goes into the reshus of the lekeach, meaning, since this guy was in this land for 3 years, and nobody said boo to him, so he no longer has to prove where he got the land from. He has to say, like we said before, he has to say where he got the land from, but he does not have to prove. He doesn't have to show a deed or a title or anything like that.
That's only good if you say the whole idea of Shar Muad is that it's Megala Mafreya, that it always was a Shar Muad. But if you say it changes in Matthias by doing it 3 times, it's not really similar to what the chazaka we have over here, which is supposed to be Megala Mafreya that I bought it to begin with.
Right. I hear, but that's already getting into the Achroinish. I think it's Achroinim, right? It's not Rishonim.
I don't know if that's true. Look at the Netziv tomorrow. I don't know if that's true.
Meaning, it's part of the whole tumult of exactly how you look at between the shor and muad. But I hear your point. Okay, so either way, the point is that Gemara right now is thinking that we learned it out from a shor tam to a shor muad, right? So the Gemara says, "Ima shor muad." If you're saying you learn out from shor muad, so when does the shor muad become a muad? Ad negicha revius le'mechayev. Until the 4th goring, he's not chayev anything. So why don't we say that? Meaning, it doesn't manifest itself that this shor is a shor muad until it gores a 4th time. Meaning, you could have this shor, it gored 3 times. If it never gores again, so what does it mean? It's not. There's no manifestation of it being a shor muad. Right? So the Gemara is saying, okay, so then l'chayra, even though you have a chazaka on a karka for 3 years, but you need to go to the 4th year for it to have any sort of meaning. At least that's
what status is it for those 12 months?
What status? No, the Gemara
from the end of 3 till the end of 4. What status is it?
From the end of 3 to the end of 4. I guess the Gemara is thinking it's not going to have a chazaka.
So it's not a chazaka until 4. Not at the end of 3. It's at the end of 4. It's a chazaka.
Yeah, that's the Gemara's question.
That's what it's saying, right?
No, but that's
the kasha of the Gemara.
What do you mean?
Meaning a short.
Says after 3 years you have a chazaka, you don't need to
no,
start
but,
anything.
No,
so
because
from Shara Muad that it only changes the 4th time it
right,
goes.
at the end of the 4th year or the beginning of the 4th year?
Well, now we're saying the end of the 4th.
There is no difference between the end of the 3rd and the beginning of the 4th.
Yeah, but a shore can be alive and doing stuff for a year till it gores again.
Well, you could finish the year on the day that the 3rd year is finished. So that's it. I think that's the way we were understanding it before this kasha. You have the chazaka.
Right, that's what the Gemara says. When the Gemara asks, "Ima sheramud ad megich revius le'mechayev," that means the din technically by a sheramud only changes by the 4th negicha. So here the din should change at the 4th year, which means at the end of the 4th year.
Rashi says that explicitly, the end of the 4th year.
Where does Rashi say that? Oh, I mean,
Yeah,
Ad Kamar Shana Revius. You're right. Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot that Rashi. Yeah. I hear, because I was thinking even in the beginning of the 4th year, because that's it. I mean, at what point does the shor become a muad? Meaning, how the second that horn touches something, right? Doesn't have to complete it. I don't know if that's exactly the same mushroom.
No, but I think that's what the Gemara is dealing with. In theoretical din, the din has changed by the shayr after the 3rd Megicha. But in Metzias, when it comes down to it, payment-wise, it only changes once the 4th Megicha happened. That's what the Gemara is going back and forth with here.
Right. I hear. Okay, so fine. So the Gemara is asking that again, the way, because from the Teretz it's very hard to understand the Havamina. Meaning the Gemara is asking, so how does it manifest itself that it's a Shor Muad after it goes the 4th time? So the way a field should manifest itself as it becomes a Chazaka is the 4th year. Right? The Gemara says, Hachi Ashta, what are you saying? Right? Meaning, can this be Hasam Michinogach Shalosh Negichos Havi Muad? By a shor, once it gored 3 times, it's a Muad. On my base now. V'idach, and the other one, meaning the 4th, Ki Loi Nogach Ma'ila Shalim. The reason why there's no manifestation until it gores a 4th time is because that's the only way you have to pay. Meaning a shor Muad that's grazing and sleeping a whole day and does nothing, there's nothing for it to pay. That's why it needs a 4th time. Since he already ate 3 years, so then it becomes into his rishus. Meaning this shor is a shor muad. It's just if it doesn't gore, so it doesn't have to pay anything. Fine, but here, 3 years, that's it. The chazaka is that it's yours, and that's it. Fine. So Gemara asks, so if you're saying that we're learning it out from a muad, chazaka shein imataina tavi chazaka. So now, like we've been saying, a chazaka needs to have a taina. Meaning you can't just squatters' rights. You just move in and say, "Oh yeah, I just moved in for 3 years and nobody told me anything, so it's mine." That doesn't work. You have to have a taina. So Gemara is asking on that. So we're saying that a chazaka shein imataina tavi chazaka. Then a chazaka that has no taina, meaning a squatter's rights, should work, right? Aloma tnan. Kol chazaka sheini mataina ain't a chazaka. Why does the Mishnah say later on that a chazaka that doesn't have a taina with it is not a chazaka? Right? Meaning, because with a shor muad, what is it? There's no tainas here. It's just the thing that it gored. Right?
We're trying to turn a cheskas raya into a cheskas kinyan.
Cheskas. What do you mean by a cheskas raya?
We're dealing with a chazaka that's as a raya as opposed to a shtar. Not making the talking about here not a kinyan. A chazaka would be a chazaka that's a kinyan. If there was no kinyan, then what are we talking about chazaka for?
If there's no kinyan,
we're talking about there was a kinyan with a shtar, and he kept the shtar for 3 years. After 3 years, he doesn't need to keep the shtar because he has this chazaka, whatever this is. It's a raya. It's a raya that he owns. Right. But a raya that someone owns something, like the squatter's rights kind of thing, a chazaka she'eni matayna, there was no kinyan. So give him the chazaka. That's okay. Chazaka she'eni matayna works. But it's not his anyway because there was no kinyan.
1 second, but he has a chazaka that it's his. We don't care about the kinyan.
Because this chazaka that it's his doesn't make it his.
That's Taisa's question. Asks how could the guy claim it's his? He's not coming with any sort of claim that he got it.
Right.
Yeah, but the Taisa's
Taisa's answer is that no, because after 3 years we could say the guy was muchal to him.
Right. So I don't.
Something happened. You're right.
Yeah, I can't. Again, this is why chizkas about him is what it is. Right. This is why it happens to be geschmack if you're learning it be'iyad. But what do you say? Yeah. Okay. So I mean, he has some form of taina. Okay, you have to understand it with this whole thing. Either way. So the Gemara is saying that bottom line is that by a shar, there's no tainas, there's no anything, right? It just becomes a sharmuad. So here too, if you're saying you learn out from sharmuad, okay, the guy's there for 3 years. He's there for 3 years, finished. It's his. So Gemara answers, time of my. Why does Chazaka work? Because maybe since he's been there for 3 years, so maybe it's like what the guy is saying, that it's his. But if he's not saying anything, we should time of him. Meaning, if this guy is saying, "Oh, I'm just here. I've been living here for 10 years," but he doesn't time of where he got it, how he got it, so we're supposed to go make tinus him? No. So that's why it's not going to work. He has to be able to time how he even got onto this field. Okay, another kasha. Right, so we know that there's such a concept. I mean, that you make a macha. Meaning, if somebody goes and's living in my house, so I go make a macha, and then that knocks off his chazaka. Meaning, if after a year or two I found that a guy's living in the house, so what do? I make a macha. Now that macha does not have to be in front of the guy. Meaning that my house could be in Mississippi, and I could put an ad in the paper in New York saying that my house in Mississippi, I know there's a guy living there, and I'm just letting everybody know it's not his. Right? So that macha works. So now the Gemara is going to say, but if you're learning out the whole chazaka concept from Sharamuad, then it shouldn't work. Should not be a bacha. Why don't be the Sharamuad? It should be similar to Sharamuad. Mash Sharamuad b'fan of v'inan. A Sharamuad, you need to be able, meaning the edus that this shar gored 3 times needs to be in front of the owner. So to here it needs to be b'fan of. Right? Meaning again, if we're learning it out from Sharamuad, so then everything has to be aligned. So when the answer is no, it's not a kasha. Hasam v'huad b'balav. Because if there the pasuk says beferish that you're making it to a muad, it has to be done in the presence of the owners. Hacha. Let's see if Peretz figures out the song of the daf. Hacha chavra islay. Here, the friend has a friend. The chavra islay, and this friend is this friend, and he has a friend. Right? There is a
Daddy, Yaakov Daddy.
Yes, very good, Aaron Cap. Yeah, Daddy Groucher, Zachron Lebrach. There you go, Aaron Kaplan, Mamish. There you go. Yeah, so
we got the recording of that.
Right, so it's Chavra Islay, the Chavra, is the meaning word of mouth, or what we call a prelude to WhatsApp, right, or chats, right. So meaning the chazaka, you can't say when a guy makes a macha, you can say, okay, it goes out big news. This guy makes a macha. This guy makes a macha. So this guy makes a macha. So meaning, no, I'm sorry, he makes a macha, and this guy tells me, you heard this guy made a macha. You heard this guy made a macha, and it travels. News travels. Fine. So
it's not a new thing. It's been going on for thousands of years.
Correct. This is just a manifestation.
Yeah,
right?
They had their own WhatsApp.
A modern, right? They did, and they didn't. It doesn't seem like they made a macha on this chavra islay either, right? Shouldn't the Gemara, if it would be today, wouldn't they say, how do you have chavra islay? Let's make a asifa. Let's make a this. Why is everybody yenting, right? Elamai yenting is part of the. It's part of the way the world works. I'm not saying it's good.
Part of a Jew. Part of a Jew.
I don't know, Jew, but it's a part of people. It's human nature. Yeah. Anyways, fine. So the Gemara says, so according to Rameir, that we have machlokes and Bava Kama, do the 3 gorings have to be on 3 different days, or it could even be 3 in a row? Meaning, do we say that nichnas by ruach shtus, and he's having a bad day, the show, right? He woke up on the wrong side of the bed, so he ran around. And within an hour, let's say, I'm just saying an hour as a mushal, but within a day, went and rammed into 3 different, because maybe he was fasting, right? Maybe he was fasting. So he went crazy. So maybe then, but not in 3 consecutive No, 3 consecutive days for sure works. The shaila is, does 3 consecutive days. Does 3 in a day work? So according to Rameir, it says Richak Nigil Chaysav Chayiv, that he's Chayiv for when the distance Kir Nigil Chaysav like Kol Shekain. So wouldn't it be a Kol Shekain that if he, meaning if you're saying that he's becomes a Sharmud over 3, let's say, consecutive days or whatever amount of days, then of course, if he does it in one day, right? So then if that means that, if literally means it eats, but it means if he harvests 3 types of pears in one day, could go into Ta'ena, right? Because Ta'enas, now here also you need the horticulture, if that's what it's called by fruit. So Ta'ena, figs can don't all get ripe at the same time. Like we said on Amud Aleph, wheat does. Figs don't. So you could have some figs getting ripe now and some in an hour and some in an hour from that. Right? What are you saying?
We had that things in a different Gemara also.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so that's what he's saying. So it's 3. So then you should, it should, meaning if we're going that it's by harvests, so maybe this guy harvested figs at three different times during the day, and that's it. So my answer is no. Dumi the sharamud has to be similar to sharamud. Ma sharamud beidna de islay hanagicha lesala hanagicha. By sharamud, when it gores once, or the Bach changes the lahai, when he gores this goring, the second goring has no shaykhs to the first goring. I mean, he goes over to cow number A and he gores it, right? Then later on he goes on to cow number B and he gores it. One had nothing to do with the other, right? Again, ma sharam would be in it the high, less lay negicha. What was it? Ma sharam would be in this lay high negicha, less lay high negicha. When he's goring one, has nothing to do with the other goring. At the time that you have this paris, when you're harvesting one type of fruit, you have to make sure there's no other fruit there. Meaning, it would have to be that there's 3 separate harvests and the fruits were not even grown together, which you don't have. I mean, the same way by Sharamuid, each individual goring is by itself. So too, each individual fruit has to be by itself. And by the figs, that's not the way it is. They just get ripe at different times. Okay, so it goes to a different type of fruit. But let's say you're able to harvest 3 fruits in 3 days, right? Or whether you should be guarded that or not. But the Shah says, could go and slav the caper bush. And that should be a chazaka. Meaning the caper bush finishes the growth from when it starts growing, it takes 3 days. Right? So maybe that would be individual fruits growing. So the Gemara says, no, there, the fruit is around. Right? Meaning when you pick the fruit on the third day of fruit, it was still around on the first day. But it just has to finish, meaning it just has to get ripe. So Mamela, it's not the same as goring. One goring has nothing to do with the other. And here we're saying this fruit, they're all in existence at the same time. So it's not independent enough, not individual enough. So you want to ask, let's say you could have 3 peris in 30 days. Could go in aspasa. That's like some type of animal food, right? So basically, aspasa you could have every 30 days, meaning it grows. It's a 30-day growth, and you could cut it 3 times. So maybe that's all, and it's new growth, meaning it grew a little bit, you cut it, then it grew a little bit more, and you cut it. Over 30 days, you can get 3 cuttings out of it. So maybe lavi chazaka, that should be considered like 3 different harvests and should be a chazaka. So when answers, hechi dami, what's the case? To kadiach va'achla. That's only if it grew a little bit and then he ate it. Well, again, eating doesn't mean he harvested. Kadiach va'achla. Then it grew a little more and he ate it. Hasam mishmat hu de kashamet va'achil. There, all he's doing is just grabbing it and then eating it early, meaning harvesting it early. Meaning we're saying that it's all part of the same plant. If you just let it grow for 30 days without cutting it down, that's one harvest, not 3 different harvests. It just happens to be that he's cutting it down a little earlier and then it grows more. Right? Meaning if you take an apple and you cut it off premature, there's no apple growing in its place. But this aspasa, something new will grow. So the Gemara has a havamina that new growth would be considered each one a new harvest. To which you want to say, no, it's the same fruit that just keeps growing. He just keeps jumping the gun and taking it too early. Okay, so the Gemara says, okay, let's say you have 3 fruits in 3 months. Like aspasa. So meaning you'll grow it 3 times. Right? Meaning you grow aspasa 30 days, grow another one, and then another one. So Gemara says, okay, so then that slugs up the Gemara. So then the Gemara answers, and it totally changes. Man holchei usha. Who were those that were traveling to Usha? Rabbi Shmuel, and that's Rabbi Shmuel. Right, meaning holchei usha is Yishmael. Rashi says, interesting Rashi here. Rashi says, I don't know. He says, I don't know where they know this from. That's it, but it's Gemiri. It's a tradition. Rabbi Shmuel was around at that time, so it must be holchei usha is Rabbi Shmuel. Right?
Holchei usha is not plural.
But there were other people with him, but he was. I think he's the Rosh Hashiva, I guess, or the Rosh Sanhedrin, or whatever you want to call him.
Is this possibly the same Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol?
Is it Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol? I don't know. I don't know enough about the history. So anyway, so the Gemara is saying, who's holchei usha? Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel Hachanami. And then we call Rabbi Shmuel and Hachanami. You could do it. The Tnan Rabbi Shmuel right? The last Rabbi Shmuel in the Mishnah said that this whole din is talking about by a grain where everything gets picked at once. But if you have a sada of trees, if you gather in the tfuah, which Rashi said meant grapes, and then he picked his olives, his kitza, and he brought in the dried figs, which is 3 total individual harvests. So maybe Shmuel holds that is 3 different years. So again, when the Gemara now basically after this whole amud of back and forth of how things grow, the Gemara is basically saying that Enochanami, the only way to learn out from Shor Hamud that there's a chazaka, it only works according to Rabbi Shmuel. It does not work according to the Rabbanon, because the Rabbanon hold you need 3 full years, and Rabbi Shmuel holds you don't. You need 3 full harvests, in which that's what we get out from Shor Hamud. So therefore, this whole limit only works according to Rabbi Shmuel, and that's it. Okay, we'll stop there.
Did Rabbi Shmuel require 3 years at the end? It sounds like this Gemara he doesn't, right? Three.
Right now, it sounds like he does not.
Right.
But we got a ways to go. But yeah.